Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. We're doing a room build. We've been on a room build kick and it wasn't supposed to be this long. I had a couple of ideas it was gonna be great, and then Home Chef Hustle came out and I've been just wanting to build kitchens. This is a super weird shaped kitchen with a dining room, but I had so much fun. It's yellow. I've been in a yellow kitchen kick. Oh my goodness, I love this set. I think it's so pretty. I think the swatches are so nice. I think it goes together so well. My one beef, the corner shelves that come with it, they have a couple swatches that are slightly off. I think it's actually a lighting issue. They're slightly off from the straight shelves. That is unfortunate. I'm sure they will patch that because I'm pretty sure it's a lighting issue. But oh my gosh, this has been so cool. And the functionality in this pack has been amazing. I will warn you before we get too far into this. This has been an unhinged recording session. I usually batch record these voiceovers. We have had thunder. I have hit my elbow. I cannot stay on topic to save my life. It is blowing like a banshee outside. The dog yelled for a while because he wasn't the center of attention. My goodness. So just fair warning for what you're getting into. This batch of videos, little bit nuts. I also had like a small existential crisis in the middle of them too, which is fun because I realized I've been telling people I've been doing YouTube for about 2 years, doing for three, which makes me feel a lot better about like kind of varying up the content and stuff. And I was kind of thinking about doing like a little bit of refresh on some of the art and stuff. Not that major, just like making aspect ratios and stuff a little bit better. And like at first I was like, I maybe shouldn't. I'm not that far into that. And I was like, it's been 3 years, I'm allowed to. 164 videos when I looked it up. That's crazy. Anyways, I'm not gonna have another existential crisis. This kitchen is so pretty. It's a weird shape, but I kind of imagined the fridge area like off to the left there being a little bit of like a coffee nook, and I stuck the fridge over there, which would be an absolute pain in real life, to clarify. I stuck the fridge over there though because I was like, coffee in the morning and stuff. Here's me getting really confused because I thought that was the full height of the large cabinet, the upper cabinet, and it's not. I'll move them all up in a minute. I'm just being silly. Here's me being super confused. I was like, why are the cabinets so low to the bench? That's an interesting choice. I'll figure it out. I'll catch up in a minute. So this was actually a lunch break build. Which is funny because it's a longer build, but I actually got like a full 45-minute lunch, which is a little bit unusual, especially the state of the world lately. And it made me very, very hungry, actually, in fact, because it's such a cool kitchen. I think it'd be so fun to actually cook in this kitchen. It's weird to me, one of the interesting things about Home Chef Hustle, which has so much fun gameplay. I've actually been playing a chef sim and like having her work at home and having her actually do the career and stuff. There's no new careers with it, but they give you a food stall. And so I've had her in the chef career that comes with, I think, base game. But then I've also had her been grammar. I've had my sim also using the food stall that comes with the pack, which is super cool because all the like little appliances slot to it and stuff. So like she had a little waffle food stand for a while. But there's a waffle maker, you can make waffles. There's a pizza oven to make pizzas. Part of the base game update was they freed the cupcakes. So you can make cupcakes in your oven now, which is fantastic. And all of the appliances, small appliances, whether in this pack or not, I think all of them, to my knowledge, they are live draggable now, which I think is game changing because I don't use the small appliances very often, like the microwave or the coffee pot, which I probably won't still use the coffee pot a whole lot. I use them in builds for aesthetics, but I don't use them like a lot in gameplay because they take up so much cabinet space. And a lot of times in gameplay, if I'm doing like rags to riches and stuff, I don't have a big kitchen. But now with them being live draggable into like the home inventory or into your Sims inventory, it's really nice because like in my house, well, we don't have it anymore, but like when we had like the popcorn maker and stuff, it was in a cabinet and then it was pulled up onto the counter. My crock pot and my KitchenAid and stuff, that all lives on the counter right now because they're too big to go in the cabinets. But I know a lot of people who take those, or like my Instant Pot, I know a lot of people who put those in cabinets when they're not being used. I use mine so much, it's not a huge deal to devote cabinet space to them, but here's me trying desperately hard to fix the lighting, I think it is, on those corner cabinets like I was talking about. It just didn't quite end up happening. But a lot of people take appliances and they put them back in cabinets when they're not being used. And so it made sense to me because like, or like the thing we still can't do in the Sims, but this makes it a little bit nicer, is like I have always had, for the most part, except when I was really, really little, like a built-in microwave. It's always been part of the thing above the stove, the vent hood, you know? And or like in this kitchen, it's like actually part of the cabinetry, like they built a nook for it, whoever redid my kitchen before I lived here. And so like having the microwave out on the fridge or out on the thing just feels like a waste of cabinet space to me. But we don't have a way to put it up, but at least now I can drag it into my Sims inventory and it's not in the way. And like the popcorn and the ice cream makers, those feel like things that would be in a cabinet. Those don't feel like they are like take up shelf space kind of appliances. So I was really, really excited about that, especially with there being like, oh yeah, like our waffle maker does not live on the counter unless we're actively using it, or like the griddle, which there's not a griddle in the Sims, but like my griddle doesn't live on the counter, it lives in a cabinet. So I really liked that touch of realism. That made me feel like, okay, I can actually give my Sims an ice cream maker, because when they want to make ice cream, we can pull out the ice cream maker, right? Versus, I think this is where I figure out everything's super low. We'll see if Amanda figures this out. Anyways, past Amanda, like I said, I was on lunch break, so I was also like reading work stuff. Whatever. Yeah, no, that feels so, I think that's part of why I've been wanting to build kitchens so much, because I'm like, oh, I can put the small appliances out, because in gameplay I can just put them back in my inventory. It's great. There, I figured it out. Look at me go. Anyways, I was rooting for me. I knew I got it. It's so frustrating watching back builds sometimes. Like, I was actually lamenting to my sweet brother that, like, if this channel ever took off a little bit, which I'm not complaining, I love where it's at right now. Okay, side note, can we talk about how good that espresso machine looks like it fits into this kitchen? I have never seen that swatch before, but it is magnificent. Anyways, I was talking to my brother and I was like, if there is ever a universe in where this would become like a job for me, like a part-time after work kind of like actual job, where I was working on it with a lot more frequency and urgency than I do now, and like I was putting out multiple videos a week, the first thing I would do is hire an editor, because sometimes it is so infuriating. I would still do the initial edit and I would still do the final, but sometimes it is so irritating to watch this footage back like 4 or 5 times, which is what you end up having to do when you're editing a video, and just you're sitting there like, God, she's dumb. Like, and I actually have a pretty healthy set of self-talk, but like sometimes I watch these videos back and I'm like, Amanda, what are you doing? What made you think? Why? You know? It can be so like, it can be sometimes infuriating. And like listening back to these voiceovers, the content, I'm always like, yeah, it's pretty on par for me, but my own voice irritates the tar out of me. And everyone's like, oh, well, if you don't like the sound of your own voice, you should be careful, because that means nobody else is gonna like the sound of your own voice. I don't think that's entirely true, because I don't know a single person like in real life who likes the sound of their own voice. I don't. And like my brother is like a legit voice actor, like he does that thing, and even he's like, I don't like listening to myself recorded all that often. And I'm like, but you literally have like 8 voices. You're like I was in a meeting one time and I had left my door open because it was like 100 degrees outside, which was about 100 degrees in my office, my room. And so I just let my coworkers know. I was like, hey, just a heads up, I have to have the office door open, so you might hear other family members and stuff. And he was like, great. And I went to say something. I don't even remember what the meeting was about, but I was explaining a concept or answering a question or something. And in the background, my brother was doing like a comedy routine between like Kennedy and Castro. And like he was doing the voices. And I was just sitting there cracking up, because at one point my boss goes, Amanda, do I hear President Kennedy in the background? And I was like, maybe, probably. And he was like, what is going on in your house? And I was like, I live with a voice actor, it's fine. And that's happened, like Christopher does a pretty good Frank Sinatra, like he sings pretty good like Frank Sinatra. And so like one time I was in a meeting and my boss was like, oh nice, do you have the record player going in the background? And I was like, no. You're gonna hear the same verse of that song 4 times because my brother's practicing Sinatra. And they were like, dang, that's pretty cool. So yeah, it's fun living with a voice actor, but like even he has days where he's like, I don't like the sound of my own voice. And I'm like, that gives us hope, I guess. That gives the rest of us hope. But the original point I was saying to this is like, sometimes I get really annoyed at myself when I'm doing builds. I'm like watching builds back and I'm like, why did you do that? Why was that the choice you made? Or like when I get super flicky, like sometimes I forget I'm recording and I'll flick back and forth between things. And so then the recording is super choppy. I'm like, why were you flicky? Why could you not have focused? One of the things I have learned about doing YouTube, which I feel like makes a lot of sense, but I don't think it keyed in. And I wish more things fit on these shelves. Side note, not a lot fits on the bottom shelves, and it's a little bit annoying. But anyways, I digress. One of the things I've learned about since doing YouTube is that, like, when you play video games for a YouTube channel like this, you spend, for every, like, hour you play a game, you spend probably 4 editing, and it will still look like junk when you're done. And I don't say that disparagingly, but because you've watched the footage so much, even if it's like halfway decent, although I have things I would like to fix about mine eventually. I'm still learning the editing process is the problem. But like, even when I have a video where I'm like, yeah, that's objectively like not bad. It's still just it feels like junk by the time you're done with it, because you're like, you've watched it to death, right? You've picked it apart to like no end. And yeah, you spend like way more time editing things than you do playing, which is okay. And I'm gonna I was talking to my brother and I was like, I need to figure out how to get faster at editing, not in like a lose quality kind of way, in just there has got to be things that I can either automate or set up a replication process. There has got to be things that I can streamline, because there's definitely like issues with my process. And also like the software I'm using has made a lot of footage really choppy, and from what I'm hearing, that's just like a feature of the software and stuff. And I'm like, okay, maybe did I change the color of that wood? I'm looking at those shelves now. Is that 3 different colored shelves? I mean, I know it's like at least 2 different colored shelves because the lighting on the one. Interesting. I will fix that before I put that up in on the gallery. But yeah, anyways, the point being is sometimes I'm sitting here watching these and I get super distracted because I'm like, what? Why did it take you so long to realize the cabinets are down? How often do you build kitchens? Like, you should know better, right? Or like sometimes I'll watch them through like 4 or 5 times, and then someone will message me and they'll be like, hey, are you aware there's like a huge dead zone in your footage? And I'll be like, I cut that out. And then I'll look and I'll be like, it wasn't even a spot that was a dead zone. It's like a spot where like the editing software got me or something. You end up missing things. This is a huge rant about editing that is not important to the video here, but do you see how cute and yellow this kitchen is? Does this not feel like the warmest, nicest kitchen? I would love to cook here. I think it would be, this just feels like such a happy little space. And I love that the herringbone is mimicked. It's not quite herringbone on the wood paneling, but the like chevron-esque pattern is mimicked in both the tile and the woodwork. I think it's so nice. It does have a matching little dinette, not really a dinette, it's actually like a dining space off to the side. This was originally meant to be a dollhouse, in that I did not I'm going to, I think, upload it as a room because I think it's too cute to leave alone, but I didn't do the wall that we've not been facing, the walls to our back, and I didn't really do this other wall because it was originally meant to be a dollhouse, and then I wanted the lighting to be better because it's such a buttery, soft, beautiful yellow in the correct lighting. And I love the countertops. I think, is that terrazzo? Is what the patterning would be called. It's supposed to be like a terrazzo tile. Now that I've said that out loud, I don't know if that's right, but I love that look. And you see what I mean when I say like it's got a little bit of like a 70s throwback, but like in a very modern way. It feels like it has a little bit of a 70s throwback in like a pretty modern way, and I dig that because I'm not usually a big 70s girl. Like, we've talked about my deep hatred of dark wood paneling, but I like this sort of throwback thing they got going on. This like sort of, and like a lot of people are saying this is very European. I'm not super familiar with that to speak on that, but if that is this, great. I love it. More of it, please. It's fantastic. I love it. But I think we're getting pretty close to the end, and I don't know if you could hear, but my dogs are absolutely losing their mind, which means I should probably go deal with that situation. So I think I'm going to stop talking a few minutes early. This is my last video to record in this batch, and sometimes I feel like I kind of peter out at the end, and I don't want to do that this time. I also just talked your ear off for like 40 minutes about how much I am struggling with my editing process, which, please, if you have tips, if you have a YouTube channel of your own, or you do editing for work, or what have you, and you're like, oh Amanda, I can totally tell you like 8 different things that I do that make life so much easier, please share that with me. I want to keep loving this for a long period of time. My least favorite part of this is the editing process. So please share with me those tips and tricks. But I'm gonna go because like I can literally hear the dogs like yelling at someone at the door. So I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you're having a great day and you're feeling loved. And if you're not feeling loved, please know that I love you and I'm glad you exist. I'm glad you're here hanging out with me. I think you make the world a better place, and I'm so happy you're here in it. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.